Hello and welcome to an all-new Marvelcast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Derek Kanata and White Wolf. My name's Ashley Hobley, your Vibranium podcast host, and joining me today is the astonishing Dylan Blight.
And I'm Dylan Blight, your vibrating host.
Jesus. Today, we're talking about the latest project in the MCU, one of the newest animated show, Eyes of Wakanda, which was, I feel like, announced a very long time ago. Let's see, 2021 announced. Well, as part of Brian Coogler's deal with Disney, this was announced. Finally come to fruition, and we're getting a little bit more of a look at Wakanda and its history, I guess. It's been like a long time. We haven't been back to Wakanda since Wakanda Forever, so let's get into it. Please be aware, we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the shows, so if you haven't watched it, come back later. Of course, it's streaming now on Disney+. With that said, let's get into talking about Eyes of Wakanda.
Wakanda is a kingdom of many secrets. Spies like you and me sent out across the world to do the missions that Wakanda does not want known.
Secrecy is essential to Wakanda's security. Be a ghost.
Created by Todd Harris, based on Marvel Comics, starring a slew of people. We are talking about the 4 episodes. Into the Lion's Den, directed by Todd Harris, written by Geoffrey Thorne. Legends and Lies, directed by John Fang, written by Marc Bernardin. Lost and Found, directed by John Fang and Todd Harris, written by Marc Bernardin, and The Last Panther, directed by Todd Harris and written by Geoffrey Thorne. Interestingly brought forward, which is a very uncommon thing. It was meant to release, I think, 27th of August, and then released like the 1st.
Wonder why.
Yeah, interesting. Dylan, what do you think of Eyes of Wakanda?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it builds upon the Black Panther mythos and core themes from the original film. I mean, it connects right up to the original film, so that doesn't sort of helps it. But I mean, thematically, Black Panther, about that first film where you've got someone wanting to basically break Wakanda free and release the, go public, and the Thai movie is about everyone trying to keep the place a secret, and like not showing that technology, and then even that bleeds through to the even future films, and even once they start working with some of the Marvel characters still connected and stuff like that. And here you've got 4 episodes about a bunch of people who are technically good guys, but are quite often still, they're just, because they're following the thing, you can't help but again sort of view them in the that light of, especially is it the second episode, the Achilles one, where you're like, bro.
Yeah. I think you could have handled this better.
yeah. So storytelling and thematically, I found it really good. I mean, the downside of this, trying to tell, apart from the 3rd episode, which is sort of a more comedic one, but I think if they do a series that's so focused on these sorts of stories, the downside to that is that quite often I don't think the characters that we're following are super deep. And I mean, they only get 1 episode, of course, so it's sort of hard to do that. Animation wise, I thought it was really, really good. They've gone for this like hand painted style. I think it looks great. I think the fight scenes throughout there all looked really, really good. They have that Iron Fist one was really good. The one where they're like floating on trees looks like fucking what's that movie?
Crouching Tiger?
No, where they're floating. Yeah, Crouching Tiger was fucking. At one point, they're like floating on ropes. Like they're doing like wushu fighting
Yeah,
or some shit in there.
anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so wushu fighting. Music was good. That opening title sequence is a banger. Surprisingly good, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't think like it's not up to. Well, I mean, it's probably better than some of the Phase 5 stuff that we've watched recently, but I think the main issue is kind of short. It's like 4 episodes, and the 4th episode is trying to pull everything together as well. It does the thing, but it's enjoyable while you're there. It's like it's really interesting that they kind of focused on on a show that's called Eyes of Wakanda. They've focused on the Dogs of War, who are the which actress?
The War Dogs.
Yeah, no, in the films is
yeah.
Yep.
Force Awakens, little old lady.
Yeah. Lupita Nyong'o's character is a war dog who people who like Dylan said, like try to keep Wakanda secret and like take out anyone who could threaten the release of or have any artifacts. They reclaim them and that kind of stuff. So
we also see was it Sterling K. Brown or am I in the first film who was
he's a war dog,
yeah
the prince's brother,
the prince's brother, which is obviously a big part of
which kind of has echoes to the first episode. I think it's interesting that the show was centered around them and like kind of we don't really get to see much of Wakanda outside of that 3rd episode, and even then it's like we're inside the palace and like not really getting a good look. It's like all these adventures of these Wakanda outside of Wakanda. Although
they made a purposeful choice though, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. It's interesting that obviously the time periods they've kind of set them in. It's all through known periods, like so, kind of integrating Wakanda's history throughout everything. I thought was really interesting.
I had to look up. I don't know what you looked up. I had to look up what year the 3rd episode was set in and when the plane was invented. And someone had put together an article with some facts and stuff, but apparently 500 years
before the plane.
So old mate's flying a fucking plane 500 years before the plane is invented. Yep. Yeah.
That's how far in advance the technology is. Yeah. And yet Iron Fist figured out what a boot was before all that time. Obviously, that like I think it's like an in-house art style now. Like I feel like it looks very much like What If. And that,
do you think so? I don't think it does.
I think it looks pretty similar. Like obviously, without them trying to recreate famous faces, I think it's maybe not as obvious. But I think it's similar enough. Feel like maybe they tweaked it a little bit to give it like its own distinct look. But obviously that's the art style.
It is done by a different art. This is done by an art studio that Coogler picked or works with whatever, but the directors worked with. What If is done by a different.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. I haven't watched a What If in a while, so maybe it's just me imagining it's all the same. But yeah, I mean, each episode was quite interesting. Like, obviously, we got that first episode where it's one of the Damage. What's the word?
DiMaggio?
Yeah,
is it DiMaggio?
Dora Majij members,
the Woman Warriors,
is tasked with taking out the Lion, who is someone who's like stolen a bunch of Wakandan artifacts and like trying to create their own kingdom. And that kind of sets up the origins of the War Dogs and like like the explanation behind all that. I think the second episode is probably the strongest, like with the dude trying to like help out during the Trojan War, which is obviously an event that we all are very familiar with. And ends up fucking over his good friend Achilles. So
I'm saying I've never.
You could have just killed those Romans, or killed take out the bad guy.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like seeing like the little bits of technology and the little transponder thing that he's got. Little Morse code thing that obviously nobody else knows about, or radio. They've discovered radio so far ahead of time as well. Third episode, yes, one of the war dogs comes across a past Iron Fist, and she comes to Wakanda.
Well,
to
actually,
recover.
I think the other important thing is the first, because this show is canon to MCU. It's actually the first canonical appearance of Iron Fist in the MCU.
I don't think that's
It
true because apparently there's an Iron Fist in one of the What If episodes.
I don't think they're like, but that's not the sacred time. The sacred
Oh,
timeline.
not the sacred timeline.
This show takes place in the sacred timeline, like it's
Mm-hmm.
canonical. They've said so. It does mean this is the first time Iron Fist has appeared in the timeline.
Yes,
is what
technically,
yeah.
even though Defenders is an Iron Fist. The
No
TV
one
show.
likes Defenders, and they're not bringing fucking whatever his
Finn
name
Jones
back
back,
as Iron Fist. They're never bringing Finn Jones back.
We're gonna wait till that reset
Yeah,
and then recast.
they just need to.
It's going to be
make,
new Iron Man, new Captain America, new Iron Fist.
What's her name? Is it Colleen Wing?
Yeah.
Just make her Iron Fist. She's the only. She's literally the only. She's the only good part of that show, and she has said in interviews she really likes the character she plays in it.
Okay.
Which was the only reason to watch Iron Fist was for her character, and then I could nearly fast forward every time Iron Fist showed up just to watch it for her.
Yeah. So she's trying to recover like a sacred statue that has had a piece of vibranium placed in it. So that's why it's stolen. And then the final episode is a Prince of Wakanda on his first mission with the War Dogs, who comes across a future Black Panther who's come back in time because their timeline has diverged because of them taking a artifact that needs to be found later that kind of sets things into motion. So, did you have a particularly favorite episode?
2.
Number 2.
Yeah, 2. I think is the best one. Just that relationship between Achilles and the Wakandan war dog. Yeah, that relationship, and just I think that episode really just summarizes a lot of the things that like they could have used all this technology for good, or he could have used his technology to help his friend who seems obviously you get to see by the end of the episode he's so sad that he actually lost him, and it's like you could have done all these things, but it's just this commitment to the way that Wakanda says, which is again ruminating of the themes of the first movie of we have to because it's the way, it's just the way. It is the way, it's just the way.
This is the way Wakanda's always been. And it's the way
we don't. Yep, and it's the way it's always going to be. So we can't help outsiders. We can't do all these things. So because of that, he ends up losing his friend. So.
All for a country that he can't stay in anymore.
Yep,
which is the ultimate tragedy.
Yeah, because he has basically the same. They do a pretty good job of I don't know if there's official terminology for it, but you see it covered in a lot of like if you watch like war films and stuff like that where someone goes to war for 10 years and they come home and they can't. Yeah, it's like Rambo basically. It's like First Blood's literally that like before those movies turned into silly nonsense. The first one was like sort of a semi-serious movie about a dude who comes back from Vietnam and he just can't live in society anymore and he goes and lives in the bush and so. What else was I going to say? Oh, I did like there is a through line. Obviously, some characters pop up a couple times, especially the first character.
Like old versions and that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I did like is there was a through line at least to what was happening. It's like the first episode is like the lion dude. The implication is that he's more or less spread the Wakandan stuff throughout that we then see throughout the rest of the episodes, and then the axe is his axe that then goes through to the last episode, and then that same axe is the one that
Killmonger takes from the
museum. Yeah, so I like that whole like how it all sort of connected.
I mean, I will say, I don't know how him not taking the axe would have changed the events of Black Panther in such a way that
I think that the way I took it, the implication is that if the axe isn't there for Killmonger to take, then Killmonger doesn't do everything he does in Black Panther, which means that the events of Black Panther don't happen, which then leads to T'Challa going public with Wakanda. So the implication is that if they don't go public with Wakanda, that what happens at the end, because they're still kept secret, and then because she says about how the whole outside of the world dies because they refuse to help them, and then they come for them last sort of thing, and they lose because they never helped them. So you need Killmonger. It's like that whole like little tiny ripple effect, but if that axe isn't there for Killmonger to take, they're saying that's like changes the through line. T'Challa doesn't go public with Wakanda.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember why he took the axe to start with.
Well, he's just there. He does this whole speech where she says something like, it's like, oh, this from such and such.
They think it's
Borgia
Claw.
or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then he goes, actually, it's from Wakanda, bitch.
Yeah.
And smashes it. Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like even if he hadn't have taken that axe, he was still going to go to Wakanda and like try to reclaim the clone.
Well, I mean, you assume, but they're saying that moment is, and it is like that theory when people talk about like past and present, like it's usually the smallest things that affect the,
But really, it was just a lesson to teach the prince. Do we do these things even if we don't know?
I can't remember now. I saw someone else because I was like, there has to be so many like little hidden details in this show. I can't remember who I saw post this now. I haven't looked up if it's true, but someone else said that prince's name in some article I saw, that prince's name in the last episode is the name of like that region. Then their society grows to think of that person's name as like their god or something. Like that. Apparently, like there's lots of little potential references to again Wakanda stuff, like affecting the world without. Yeah.
But yeah, I think a fun little series.
Also, the Watcher's in this, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah,
Where?
I think it's the last episode.
Of course.
If you Google it, there's a time code people have found on Twitter or whatever. But there's a part where the Watcher's watching.
Of course, he is.
Yeah.
Little voyeur.
Yep.
It's easy. I mean, he is easier to fit into like animated stuff and keep him hidden.
Yeah, I would love for them to start doing that in
live action stuff.
Live action, just like don't make it super obvious. Make it like really hard that no one notices until
like little like
out or
in
something.
Mirrors or windows and then stuff like that. It doesn't need to just be in the sky,
Yeah. It'll be one of those things that people think is building to something, but it's like it's not building anything. It's just a fun little.
He's
gag,
just watching.
Yeah, he's just doing his. He's
doing his job. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun little series. I don't know if they're going to do any more. It seems like it feels a little bit tossed together. Like, here's something. Much in the way that like the obvious comparisons. You compare it to the Tales of the Jedi or Smith or whatever series they did with Star Wars.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
I mean, they just try to fill they just try and fill Disney Plus with shit.
Yeah, I mean, this just feels like here's more content.
Yeah, I will say the only good thing about this is when I was looking up the other day, found out the dude who directed this has worked on the art team for a lot of projects. This is his first thing he's ever directed, but he became friends with Ryan Coogler. So he worked with Coogler on all the Black Panther stuff in animation in the art department for those, to the point that he then worked on him in art department for Sinners as well. So obviously he's become good friends with Coogler.
Yep.
But I do think that this was like Coogler being like made friends with this dude and said, "Here, do you want to direct it? Like your first directing job? Like I'll give you this series." Sort of thing.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about doing this?
No, I think I said the only other thing I was going to just reiterate, because we talked about so many other things, is again hearing the little tunes of the classic Black Panther score and stuff throughout it, and moments like that were cool. So.
All right, let's know what you thought of Eyes of Wakanda by letting us know on Blue Sky at ExplosionNetwork.com, or find us on other social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars and equally 5 stars, or tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at ExplosionNetwork.com/support. Next up, here at All New Marvelcast, I believe, we'll be talking about Marvel Zombies when it releases in October. So join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.
Forgot about that.